Hey guys, this is Albertium back with another video, and it's great pleasure for me today to be able to say that I am here with Homeworld 3, 20 years in the making. You heard that right. And before we get into everything else, I would like to profusely thank Gearbox Publishing for sponsoring this video, and also there's going to be a little giveaway soon on my Twitter, so keep an eye out for that. And well, the game is out today on both Steam and Epic Game Store, so you can follow the link in the description and just treat yourself. You know you deserve this, and this game, believe me, this is amazing. If you love RTS, if you love sci-fi games, this is like no other. And you know what? This is going to be a little beginner guide for the war games, which is basically a brand new mode to the game. And it basically also combines the best of the RTS and also the roguelike elements to create something that you have never before seen in any type of RTS game. So when I say that Homeworld has always driven the gaming forward, I truly believe that, and it's again my great pleasure to be able to say it's happening yet again. Can you tell I'm excited? Because I am excited. So let's get into the tips and tricks in this little beginner video for war games. So, what makes the war games more difficult and completely different than your regular campaign? Obviously, the roguelike games, they have this reputation of being extremely difficult, and here you are going to be finding a true meaning of that. Obviously, you have your upgrades that are going to be temporary upgrades that you obtain during your run, but they are not going to be carrying over once you end the run, and that is that. But you are going to be gathering experience, and this experience is going to be unlocking permanent upgrades that are gonna be carrying over each time you try to do a run. But as many roguelike games, speed here is going to be extremely important, more than anything else, maybe even perhaps. Because here's the thing, while this is a roguelike experience, there is this tower defense quality interwoven in it, because this mode functions on waves, increasingly difficult waves. And it doesn't matter just how good of a player you are, sooner or later you are absolutely going to get swamped and you are gonna drown in the amount of enemies. And this is even more so accented due to the nature of Homeworld and the relationship that the units have to each other. It is rock, paper, scissors, This is effective against that, but it's pretty much terrible against this here. And in these waves that keep becoming more difficult, there is more enemies and you have a unit cap, so you simply cannot keep up with this increasing difficulty. This is simply amazing, and it really keeps you on your toes. So you just need to not dilly-dally like you would usually in your normal RTS modes, where you can just focus on collecting the resources, keep spitting out your one or two, maybe even three kinds of units, and think you are going to sweep over any type of opposition. That type of approach is not going to be working here. So, this is your Wargames lobby. Here you're gonna be selecting your starting fleet, and the more you play, the more you level up, the better and stronger, more tactical options will you be achieving. And this is just awesome. It's just another incentive to keep you playing. Now, as a true roguelike, experience, you have a bunch of difficulty modifiers. Now, if you are selecting them, you can select as many as you want. But if you are like changing your mind and you want to just erase them, don't click them one at a time, just click back to standard difficulty, and this pretty much makes them all go away at once. While the war games are vastly different in nature from your base campaign and your usual gameplay, a lot of, the rules, they are pretty much the same, but they are actually even more important here, because you do not have infinite amount of time. You need to make all of this that I'm going to tell you, that I'm going to share with you, work even more. So, Your surroundings. Homeworld 3 is pretty much designed around cover-based tactics and the strategic use of terrain. Think about like Gears of War, but you're using your little ships and putting them behind things and just creating perfect scenarios where your, placement and your unit composition is going to be enhanced even more for the mission's success. So when deciding your plan of attack, take a careful survey of the battle space to see how it can be best used to your advantage. Floating sheets of megalith make for great cover, tunnels can be used to hide your approach on enemy vessels, and larger pieces of wreckage can allow you to approach in force and deny your enemy a line of fire. So sometimes types of cover like trenches and tunnels will also make units harder to detect. This is absolutely phenomenal, and allowing you to sneak past enemy formations to unleash devastating ambushes. So to use these covers, ships must be set to passive or neutral stances. Ships in an aggressive stance will not use cover to their advantage automatically, and this is something that needs to be talked about because you really need to be mindful of how your units are going to be, reacting to the environment and other units around. You need to put them to neutral, and sometimes you have to switch that to aggressive. And now that we have discussed your surroundings, we go to the next thing. Ambush. Now, you can ambush larger ships from behind for maximum damage. This means frigates, capital ships, and motherships all have extra armor that defends them from frontal attacks. Attacking their sides will deal slightly more damage, 10% more, whereas striking from behind will do the most damage, 80% more. This is critical information to remember when attacking or defending larger ships. Destroyers, assault frigates, and battle cruisers, they do not take damage from attacks along their flanks, but will still take bonus damage for attacks from behind. Many larger ships also have their weapon systems positioned toward the front, and this pretty much allows them to easily shred weaker ships, and this includes bombers. These weapons are less effective, of course, at engaging targets that are behind them. So this gives you not only bonus damage when you are behind them, they still need to turn around so that they have you in their sights, because this then also means more time is in favor of you and not them, and you can take advantage of that also. When attacking, exploit this design by using cover, ship abilities, or distractions to get your weaker ships into a flanking position where they can unleash devastating damage. When defending, keep your larger ships facing the enemy formation. If you need to move these ships or retreat while they're actively in combat, you can use the attack move order. This will cause the ship to begin moving towards your target destination while also continuing to face the enemy so it doesn't expose its flank. And this is simply amazing. So you're not just, moving your units, but they are moving and defending themselves, which is pretty much critical because you do not know what is going to be coming up your way from here to there, from point A to point B, and your units need to be ready for anything. So the next thing is going to be the units. Now, this is pretty much what I've been talking about earlier, and this whole mechanic of rock, paper, scissors and the relationship that all units have between them. It's pretty damn important. Now, here is the thing. Each ship in your arsenal is designed to fulfill a specific role in battle, and this is simply how it is. You need to have a varied fleet so that your fleet is pretty much ready for anything. Now, this does come under more pressure, in this mode of war games, because like I said, the numbers and the composition just keeps increasing, and you are gonna be having a harder time keeping up the longer you stay in these missions. So make sure that, from the beginning, you take initiative and you take it by the horns and just try to do this as fast as possible. It's pretty much going to be just that. A little bit more practice, but you get the gist of it. Now, a lot of these units, you're going to be noticing that they need to be researched, before you can construct them. But every next level, mission that you advance to, they pretty much carry over. The resources. Now, the resources are our next tip right here, and resource managing. Now, obviously, resources are going to be the cornerstone of every RTS game, and War Games is pretty much no different. But there is a big difference when it comes to this and other RTS games. Now, here is the thing. The resources at the very beginning and up to the middle are pretty much then going to make count. When the mission goes into its final stage, no amount of resources, no amount of units that you can pump out are going to be carrying you over the line to victory. Because we established earlier that these enemies, they simply become a lot more vicious and just overwhelming. You are not going to be winning. So you need to be making sure this goes along the lines of what I said earlier about wrapping up these missions fast. From the very beginning, send your collectors, but don't send them unguarded. Send a little bit of an escort with them so they can mop up whatever it is there. And you can then just keep making your, fleet and also research. The formations. Now, formations are extremely important. And here in war games, like I keep repeating over and over again, it's going to be even more important. Now, military ships of all kinds can be grouped into formations. Each of these formations provides benefits and drawbacks. It might be more defensible, better at concentrating fire and stuff like that, but be sure to experiment with different compositions of units and formations to find the tactics that kind of best mesh with your playstyle. Now, be also mindful that every new unit you produce and you are joining it to a unit group, it's going to be resetting your formation. And not just that, the stance, is it aggressive or neutral? So this is something that you need to be refreshing constantly. Now, one thing that is of extreme importance is pretty much capturing other units. Now, certain units are capable of capturing enemy units, and we mean here resource controllers. These little guys are not just handy at collecting everything, they can also pretty much add a lot of firepower to your own fleet. Now, any unit captured becomes a part of the fleet and will carry forward into future missions. Capture enemy units to utilize their unique stats, weapons, and abilities. Capturing units allows you to surpass the population cap of a ship class, and this is absolutely paramount importance right here. And there you have it, guys. This is the beginner guide to war games, but it can also be pretty much applied to the base game as well. But here, it's more important. You are gonna be dying a lot, you are gonna be retrying a lot, and that is the whole purpose of the roguelike element. You will never ever in any roguelike game be able to just start and finish the game in 1 or 2 or even 3 goes. You just need to be repeating, and luckily, in these games, you always gonna have to have the gameplay that is the hook for the player, and Homeworld 3 does just that with war games. The gameplay is just so good. I do not mind repeating once, 10 times, 100 times at all. Thanks again to Gearbox Publishing for sponsoring this video. Check out the link in the description, guys, and treat yourself to one of the best games in the entire year. Guys, this is Helldivers. I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.